it actually took a very tough beating to get me out of the sport.
By Pacquiao.
Manny Pacquiao. I mean, he beat the hell out of me. Manny Pacquiao would be right in front of me. He would, after hitting me 15 times, and then I would be ready to hit him, and he would be wide open, and I couldn't pull the trigger. I just couldn't pull the trigger.
Oscar, he's comeback. He's coming back.
Yeah, 46. Thank you.
For the WBC title at 147.
Nice boots.
Thank you so
I
much.
wish him all the best.
Quadra, I love him.
Can he do it?
Quadra?
Can he do it? Absolutely.
That's a Mexican brand.
Manny Pacquiao's
Oscar needs
he's a legend. You know,
some nice ones. Thank you.
he's a legend. I think he can do it. Absolutely. I mean, it's not going to be easy, but I think he can do it. Yeah.
He's 46, he hasn't fought in nearly 4 years. His last bout ended in a loss, and now he's stepping back into the ring not for an exhibition, but for a world title fight. On paper, Manny Pacquiao's return makes no sense, but if you followed boxing long enough, you know Pacquiao was never just a name on paper. He's the storm in the late rounds, the blur of gloves you never see coming, the man who built his legacy not by playing it safe but by defying every expectation the sport had for him. Now he's facing Mario Barrios, 13 years younger, the reigning WBC welterweight champion, and entering the peak of his career. Most fighters would avoid this matchup, most retired legends wouldn't even think about it, but Pacquiao didn't just agree to it, he wants the belt. So when Oscar de la Hoya said Barrios should think twice, it wasn't trash talk, it was a warning, because this isn't just a comeback, it's a challenge, and if history's taught us anything, it's this: you don't bet against Pacquiao when he's chasing something. When he announced his return, the reaction wasn't applause, it was disbelief. He hadn't fought since 2021, he was 46 deep into politics, and most assumed his career was finished. Then came the news: July 19th, Las Vegas, WBC welterweight title, no warm-up, no exhibition, just a straight leap into the fire against a prime champion. For almost 4 years boxing moved on, without him new contenders rose, belts changed hands, and the sport forgot what it looked like. When speed became chaos, Pacquiao disappeared. No press, no pad work, just family, public service, and silence. But behind that silence he was still watching, and maybe the world mistook that stillness for retirement. Maybe they thought the storm was over. The thing about Pacquiao is he's never needed the spotlight to sharpen the blade. He never trained for cameras, he trained because movement lives in his blood. Even now the hands are fast, the eyes still track, and the rhythm still bends expectations. Every now and then a clip would surface, 15 seconds, no quotes, no music, just Pacquiao alone, locked in like he never left, and suddenly fans started asking the question no one wanted to touch: what if he's not done? Then came the first whispers that turned into rumors, and finally confirmation: he wasn't done watching, he was getting ready to fight again. But this fight isn't about nostalgia, it's a final statement. Pacquiao already has more accolades than any active fighter: 8 divisions, Fighter of the Decade, a Hall of Fame career locked in before his last bout even ended, and still he's putting it all on the line. Why? Because legacy doesn't rest, and one win against a reigning champion could rewrite everything we think we know about age, decline, and the limits of greatness in combat sports. But this isn't just a fight, it's a statement. Pacquiao already owns more accolades than any active fighter: 8 division titles, Fighter of the Decade, and a Hall of Fame career secured long before he hung up the gloves, and still he's putting everything back on the line. Why? Because legacy doesn't sleep, and one win over a reigning champion could change the way we think about age and greatness in this sport. The risk is real, no matter how legendary he is. Time doesn't spare anyone. He'll enter that ring slower, maybe less durable, certainly with less momentum. But if history has shown us anything, it's this: Pacquiao doesn't just survive when he's counted out, that's when he thrives. He's not returning to prove anything to fans, he's returning because in his mind this isn't the end, it's the unfinished chapter he's ready to write one more time under the bright lights of Las Vegas. Manny Pacquiao isn't just a legend, he's boxing mythology brought to life. 62 wins, 8 weight divisions, 26 knockouts. He wasn't supposed to dominate featherweights, let alone welterweights, but time and again Pacquiao broke logic, carving up names like Barrera, Morales, Cato, and Thurman with footwork so fast it looked like CGI. Still, this isn't 2010, this is 2025, and reality doesn't care about legends. When Pacquiao last fought in 2021, he didn't look washed, but he didn't look like Pacquiao either. Your Dennis Yugas wasn't better, he was younger, fresher, sharper, and that was enough. Pacquiao took the loss with grace, but it was clear his timing had dulled, his reflexes slowed. Now, 4 years later, can that same fighter come back stronger? Even the greatest slowdown, Ollie Leonard, Roy Jones, greatness doesn't beat the Clock it only delays it. Pacquiao's speed once made him untouchable, a blur too fast to track, but now the question isn't about what he was, it's whether that speed still matters when his legs don't move like they used to, and it's not just physical, it's the rhythm, the instincts, the timing that only repetition can sharpen. Ring rust isn't about cardio, it's about milliseconds. The space between landing clean or getting caught 4 years out of the ring doesn't just dull reflexes, it rewires how you move and react against someone like Barrios, who's younger, sharper, and in rhythm. That's not a warm-up, it's a risk zone, but this is where the story could flip. Pacquiao has never relied on youth or brute strength. He wins with movement, angles, pressure, and chaos disguised as rhythm. He doesn't slug it out, he drowns you in volume bursts and feints you never saw coming. If that instinct, that sixth sense for timing and space is still intact, then even at 46 he might be too much for a fighter like Barrios, who's never shared a ring with someone this unpredictable. Pacquiao doesn't need to be who he was, he just needs to be sharp enough, smart enough, and relentless enough to make Barrios question himself for even one round, and in fights like these 1 round is all it takes. Mario Barrios isn't stepping into this fight as a placeholder, he's the reigning WBC welterweight champion with 29 wins, just 2 losses, and the kind of discipline that makes him one of the most focused athletes in the division. At 30, he's entering his prime, tall and rangy with a stiff jab and a gas tank built for deep waters. He's not flashy, but he's efficient, breaking opponents down round by round, not by chasing knockouts, but by suffocating them with steady pressure, smart footwork, and calculated aggression. Since moving up to welterweight, he's looked sharper, more composed, and far more patient. The wild, sometimes reckless puncher from his super lightweight days has evolved into a methodical tactician, and right now he's fighting like a man who understands exactly where he is and exactly where he wants to go. But this challenge is unlike anything Barrios has faced before. He's not fighting a textbook welterweight, he's fighting controlled chaos. Pacquiao doesn't move like anyone else in the division. 1 second he's in front of you, the next he's circling your blind side, unloading a 5-punch flurry from an angle you didn't think existed. That's what makes this fight dangerous. Barrios has never dealt with this kind of pressure, this kind of timing, this kind of unpredictability, especially from a fighter with nothing left to prove and everything left to take. But Barrios isn't walking in blind, he knows the weight of this moment. He's called the fight an honor, but he's not showing up to pay tribute, he's showing up to win. Because beating Pacquiao doesn't just mean keeping your belt, it means rewriting your name into boxing's bigger conversation. It's how you stop being just a champion and start being a star. Mario Barrios has the youth, the power, and the momentum, but all of that only matters if he can survive what's coming, because now he has to walk through fire and prove he deserves to share the same sentence as Manny Pacquiao, and few people understand what that fire feels like better than Oscar de la Hoya in 2008. He stepped into the ring bigger, favored, and decorated, a 6th-division world champion, expected to dominate. Instead, he sat on the stool, broken and silent, unable to continue. Pacquiao didn't just beat him, he dismantled him systematically and without mercy. So if De La Hoya is telling Barrios to think twice, it isn't trash talk, it's experience talking. It's the voice of someone who knows what it's like to underestimate a man fighting with no pressure, no fear, and absolutely nothing to lose. De La Hoya isn't the only one concerned. Veterans, analysts, and trainers are all saying the same thing. This fight looks winnable for Barrios, but it feels like a trap. Pacquiao doesn't train like a man nearing 50, he trains like a contender. He doesn't enter the ring looking to survive, he enters thinking like a predator, and if his legs hold up for even 6 or 7 rounds, Barrios could find himself in the middle of a storm he's never experienced. Then there's the